We hope you brought the aloe and sunscreen.
Bullshit.
Because these takes are scorching hot. Now, get ready for some raw,
You want it raw?
gritty, and unfiltered takes from the old man, Don himself.
She can't say the truth because it does makes her look like an idiot. Because that's what she is.
These are Pop's Takes, right here on BB Nation Radio.
Bullshit.
Oh, yes, and we are back once again with another edition of Pop's Takes right here on Backwoods Veterans Media Entertainment. I am your host, J-Dub, and join me, as always, is the old breed Marine himself, good old Pops, a.k.a. Don. Pops, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm not doing too bad now. I think I'm still trying to recuperate from the weekend and out doing my favorite thing.
You're right. We'll get to that here in a little bit as far as that whole activity goes.
Other than that, though, I've been sick at heart.
Oh?
If you'd have heard today what I heard, our commanding general of the Marine Corps in Afghanistan praising the Taliban, our enemy.
Oh, gotcha. I mean, General McKenzie, the CENTCOM commanding general. Yeah.
You know, they even talked to a Marine officer at almost just under his 20 years, and he resigned because
I believe it.
He was so angry with that the leaders would do something like that. He served a lot of time in Afghanistan and he left friends and buddies over there and everything.
Right.
And then they actually, before this, this is not quite the 30th over there, is it? I don't know what time the 30th.
Well, the 30th is done.
The 31st,
it's now the 31st.
What time does that start?
Well, let's see. That would be, well, they're what, 12 and a half hours ahead of us here. So, yeah, it's like 6 in the morning over there right now, like 6:30 in the morning. Our administration pulled out all of our troops and everything, leaving at least 100 Americans stranded over there. Oh, only 100? I thought it was more than that.
That's depending on who's counting. I heard anything from 100 all the way to 500. I've heard all kinds of numbers today.
Yeah, the numbers are atrocious right now. It really is. The fact of the matter is they're above zero.
Yeah,
that got left behind. And that's the shit thing about it. That's the part that irritates me the most.
Never in history of the United States has any military left any American behind. Period.
Yeah, that's true. And yet here we are today.
I have to kind of say that's almost true. I mean, as far as any Americans that we knew of,
right?
There were MIAs and POWs we didn't know about in Nam,
right?
That we found out later. But basically, that's the backbone of the military: is you never leave an American behind. Period. I don't care if it costs you your life.
That is very true. That is very true.
So it's just made me sick at heart over all this happening. So, it's just, anyhow, that's my bad news for today, I guess.
Right. Well, I mean, it's the thing about it is the fact that they were turning people away at the gates. I actually went through and did a little bit of scrubbing, a little bit of digging and everything else myself here earlier this afternoon. And, it's when you sit back and you can see on Twitter and Facebook and social media and everything else and all these other different platforms. And trust me, I scoured the bowels of the internet, emphasis on the bowels, because social media anymore should be more along the lines of socialist media.
Right.
But that's besides the point, from what we're
It's
talking
not
about
media
here.
anymore.
But the
Media,
thing,
wait a minute, media is a journalist. It's actually people that tell the truth. Okay, that's people reporting the truth. That's the media.
Yeah.
What they're doing now is propaganda and lies, and they don't give a damn about who they offend or what they say about the country, as long as it benefits them.
no argument for me on that one.
So you can't call it the media anymore. You just call it socialists.
Right. Well, you see, here to think about it. I was here before you went on that. There were American citizens that were getting turned away at the gates trying to get into the airport while the last few planes were taking off. And they're sitting there, they're waving their passports, their American passports, trying to get in. And they got turned away. And the planes took off without them.
Who was it? The Taliban turned them away at the gate, or was it
whoever was running it? It wasn't made very clear, but my guess is probably was Taliban.
Because when today was the last of the army or the military, not the army, the Army Marines.
Yeah, the last C-17 carrying American service members, period, out of Afghanistan, evacuees.
They were gone. They're
whatever.
gone now. They're all back.
They're all out. Took off just before midnight local time. I guess it would be last night. So here it was about little after 3:00 on the East Coast is when that last C-17 took off. So, and unfortunately, the door-to-doors have already started. They started before things even, before the last planes were even taken off.
Oh, absolutely.
Or even taxiing down the runway. But no, the door-to-doors were already commencing. And it's sad. It really is, because these are people that helped us out for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
An entire generation
it's just
of Afghanis that we helped out have been now left to the mercy of the Taliban, which most of us know there is none there. And that's sad. It really is.
It's
Richie says, he's like, so ended modern day Vietnam. And what's sad is that this is worse.
Yeah, it's much worse.
I don't know what really. Okay. Hold that thought. As per tradition, Alex, what's going on, brother?
Hey, so
by the way, you're on air.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just got off work. I didn't even realize it, brother.
All good, man. So, no, we're doing pop steaks right now. So.
Oh, well, then why don't you give me a holler when you're done?
All right, will do.
Hey, Pops.
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Good.
All right.
So,
I'll turn it on here in a minute.
All right, sounds good, man. We'll talk to you here in a little bit.
All
right, bye. Yes, that is our standing rule here at the station, is if you call in the middle of the show, you get put on air whether you like it or not. So, again, that was Alex, a.k.a. Deuce, from over there at Rockabilly Radio. So you can catch him and his show with myself on Friday nights over on the Spreaker side of the house at 7 p.m. Pacific. So anyhow, but back to what we were discussing, it's just when you see these folks getting turned away and what's going on throughout the country, and the majority of the country, honestly, it's sad. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And it's maddening. If you're an American citizen right now, and especially, it doesn't matter if they're your family members or friends or whatever. If you're an American and you know that the government left your people behind, you should be up in arms right now. Seriously. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. I'm furious over it. I really am. I know you are too, and I hope a lot of our viewers are, seriously, because there's no excuse for it. There's none.
Well, to praise the enemy about how nice and good they treated everybody and all that, it's just beyond all comprehension. I can't comprehend one of our military leaders, supposedly a leader, saying that.
Right?
I don't. You talking about them already beating on the doors and all that. They were talking to on. They were talking to a fellow. He was an interpreter, and
Mhm.
he was actually had became a citizen and joined, became a officer and interpreter.
Right.
He got his family back here, his wife and kids,
Good.
but they tracked down his dad
Oh
today
no.
and beat him within an inch of his life.
Now I ever heard. Did you hear? You seen the footage of the Taliban hanging that one dude by the neck, and when they hung him, oh, they did it in style. Oh, they did it in style. When I say they did it in style, they literally hung him like he was a piece of freaking sling load off the belly of a freaking Blackhawk and flew his corpse around Kabul, hanging from the belly of a freaking Blackhawk. And it's sad. It really is. And if people think that this is a good thing, that we're leaving the Afghans to these Neanderthals, and I'm serious. You know, I'm not calling the Afghan people that. I'm calling the folks in the Taliban that partake and engage in these types of activities. I'm calling them Neanderthal because they're subhuman. They really are in their way of thinking. Seriously, and it's maddening, and people wonder why we were there for so long. It's because we were still there combating these assholes.
Right.
And the fact that we turned our back on an entire country that we have been helping for the last 20 years, on top of doing what we had to do. A lot of folks are like, oh, it's over oil, it's over this. Like, no, you not. Jackwagons. Seriously? I mean, come on.
Let me tell you something. You now have a force that is almost equivalent to ours as far as being for the military weapons and everything that they have now. They are all our weapons.
Right, but here's a catch to that, though. Here is a very big catch to it. Yes, they have the equipment. But what's going to happen when that equipment fails? They do not have the supply chain to be able to maintain and keep that equipment operational. Yeah, but that is the big thing that a lot of folks seem to forget.
No. Being a mechanic myself quite a bit, I think I don't forget about that kind of thing. But what I had a point I was kind of getting to.
Okay.
Is, all right, they got all this equipment and all this power and all this now. And we have our politicians, the Secretary of State says that they're going to trust them to be honorable. And they told him, the Taliban told the Secretary of State, and he bought it, that they were not going to become a terrorist safety zone.
I believe that when...
you know what? Guess what? Who's the terrorist? The Taliban's are terrorists.
Well...
So get over it.
Here's the thing about it. Now we got ISIS-K freaking trying to run rampant, and now the Taliban are... They've shifted focus off of us and now focused on them now. Yeah. And now here we go. It's going to be the 1982 all over again, where we were helping out the Taliban, because if you recall correctly, the Reagan administration, as much as I love Reagan, God rest that man's soul, the worst thing he could have done was help create the Taliban to take on the Russians. And I get it, the enemy is my friend, but you have to think long game when it comes to these things. And a lot of politicians don't really think long term. They just think to the next election, and then to the next election, then to the next election. I think the last one that actually thought freaking long term, I think, was LBJ, when he said something along the lines, I'm going to have these, for lack of better terms, people voting Democrat for the next 50 years. I think that was about the only long term freaking politician thing I could think of.
That's what they're after.
You know, and it's sad. It really is. And Richie, I like your comment. It's just like, well, they have Google and Amazon. Oh, man.
It's ridiculous, the whole situation. As you know, I've kind of been out of touch for several days, and So this afternoon, I've been trying to kind of run through the news and stuff and catch up on
Right.
some of the stuff.
Crystal says 2 of my neighbors were interpreters for my unit when they went to Afghanistan. Their fathers were contractors for the U.S., so they're still there. My neighbors are scared their family members that were left are going to die. And that's true. You know, there's a lot of folks that are in that boat right now, and it's a shit sandwich. It really is. And I pray to God for their safety, for their family's safety, you know, for their friends and loved ones that did help us out, that they're able to find a way to find shelter, to find a way out of there, to not be held hostage, for lack of better terms.
I heard today on the they were talking about these people that were still there, and the government won't do it, but a lot of the private people are. They're all working hard, especially some of these news people that have news friends over there.
Right.
So, you know, they're still trying to get some of them out, but not the government. The government's too damn scared to do anything.
Right. So we'll see how this all goes. So anyhow, we'll touch base more on this stuff here next week, Pops.
Yep.
As far as with any developments and things like that. So moving things right along into our next topic of discussion. Yes, Pops, your review of your favorite activity. So this last weekend was opening weekend of bow season here in the Pacific Northwest. Right. And you actually had the chance to go out and kind of play babysitter for your great granddaughter, but also at the same time kind of play guide and scout and a whole slew of other things. So tell us a little bit about how this weekend went and what was going on.
Well, first off, the little girl didn't get to make it. She stayed home with her mom, and the daughter went over and took care of her granddaughter for a while, and then yesterday or Saturday, and then her mother was off the rest of the week. So
gotcha. Okay.
But anyhow, yeah, we did a lot of scouting up there, and I talked to a lot of the bow hunters and things like that. Just doing a lot of my research work for our elk hunt and the deer hunt, because bow season for deer was open, and most of them were hunting elk. But a lot of them had deer tags too, so if they saw a nice buck, they would have taken it too. They were concentrating on the elk.
Right.
But I did a lot of scouting around, looking at some of my old areas and trying to familiarize myself with some of the areas I used to go into all the time that have been new roads and logs and all that logging done, and
right,
changed everything around quite a bit. So if I couldn't find my way around in one direction, I'd go back and come in from the other side where I knew where I was at, and
right,
try and meet up in the middle. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But, yeah, there's quite a few bow hunters out there.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, right quick, in regards to this. So we know that opening weekend of bow season was this last weekend.
Right.
So the biggest thing, you mentioned how a lot of guys are going for elk and stuff. Why is it now with bow season, at least here in Oregon, I'm pretty sure Washington's the same way, is that you can hunt either or at the same time.
Yeah, that's with archery, yes.
So
yeah, it's archery only that does that.
Correct. Now, why is it that they will want to try and go for the elk first?
You know of anything better to eat?
Well, I mean,
no.
I get my reasons and your reasons.
I get probably trophies.
You think that's the case, or do you think it's the fact that right now the elk, at least for the most part, both Roosevelt and Rockies are in rut right now.
They're just coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Versus the deer, which are they don't start coming in the rut until later on in the season, as things start getting colder, and that's after the rifle hunts are pretty well done and late season bow kicks in.
I did hear a couple of bugles going off, which elk do when they start into rut and everything.
Right.
But they were young bulls. You could tell that by their their voice and the way they bugled. I never heard in the 3 days up there. I never heard a large bull bugle.
So no big boys, just a bunch of satellites and young bulls,
Right.
huh?
And I'm guessing that if they're starting in now, that within the next week, we keep getting those cool nights up there and everything, that the big boys will start in pretty quick.
Absolutely, because now's the best time to do it, because now they're starting to actually herd up big time, and now it's getting to the point to where you start getting the pick of the litter when it comes to them, if you can get on them and get into them.
After the breeding season, the big bulls, they all gather up away from the herd. So
yeah, well, that's when you'll start getting a lot of your older, more mature bulls. They'll start branching away, and they'll group up away from the main herd, which is going to be like your cows, your calves, your yearlings, your spikes. That's when you're going to find them.
You'll find up to 3 points bulls with the same with the herd. Spikes in the forked horns and all that. And,
right.
You'll see the 3 points. Once in a great while, you'll see a 3 point running with the big boys. But normally, the big boys will push them out and keep them away from them.
Right.
So we just have to keep playing it by ear. But I'm up there doing a lot of checking the travel management roads and stuff like that, walking up them and seeing if I can find any crossings.
Did they finally close off travel management again for the season?
It started the day.
It started this weekend, didn't it?
Yeah, the day before bow season. It started Friday.
Naturally.
And it goes until after the elk rifle season.
Okay. Well, fortunately for us, there's not much travel management in the areas that we will be hunting, and then at least where I plan to spend a lot of time, there's little to none. So there's a trail. It's open. It's open season. It's open game.
Yeah, it's I haven't decided exactly which section I'm going to start in, but I've been checking them all and spending some time in them, and I will this weekend coming up this next weekend.
All right. So early season bow hunters, any tips for these guys right now from what you've seen out in the woods so far this year?
Okay, I'll tell you what I'm seeing, that very few people are successful with a bow in stalking these animals. And that's what I see so many of them doing, is they're spending too much time walking. They should find areas where they know they're traveling. And remember that elk have a 4-week or a 4-day cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And get yourself a blinds or something set up, or a place where you can sit unobserved, and just set it out and wait, and they'll come to you. It's just that's. And if you see where a big herd is traveling right now, you get find a trail close to them, but out of sight.
Right.
And get on that trail and just. I'll bet you'll find single tracks of a big single animal.
Right
next to it.
And chances are that's probably your herd bull.
That's the big boy. That's
the one you want.
Or
at least one of them you want. Just saying.
Yeah. Personally, I've got quite a few trophies. I'd like to get myself a nice 2-year-old spike and have him for dinner.
By God.
I told the guys up there bow hunting this weekend, I said, you realize that when we're up here and you get one, the tenderloins go on the fire tonight.
Right.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing better than fresh elk tenderloin. I got news for you. Cooked over the fire.
Jeff Kiddo waving to you. He's station manager over there with our friends over the Hillbilly Highway radio station.
Hey.
And then High Tech checks in. He's like, I'll take a bull. Any bull works.
Works for me too.
Exactly. We're not too picky around here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Nice big branch bull, put horns on the wall is always great, fine and dandy. But here's the thing about with the older, way more mature bulls, a little bit gamier, a little bit tougher. But when you get a nice 2-year-old spike, oh yeah, that's good eats right there, man. That is good, tender, not gamey at all. It's perfect. It's excellent meat to use.
Only one elk better.
A 2-year-old cow.
You got it.
That is true as long as he got the tag for it. As long as he got the tag for it.
Yeah, if she's not breeding, she's the best eating there is.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So, all right. Well, Pops, that does it for us this week here on the show. So, any parting words of wisdom before we head on out?
Well, I'm going to miss you guys next week or next Monday because
we going to be in the woods.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Leaving the home here on Thursday afternoon, and I'll be there. If I come back either Monday evening or probably Tuesday morning.
There you go. That works. yep. So we're gonna have a busy weekend this weekend.
You guys all have a good Labor Day and all that, and enjoy your time off together with your families or whatever. And remember, this country's not dead yet.
Pimp, I love you, man.
What do you do now?
It says my ex-wife was a cow and she wasn't good.
Well, that's what you get.
I guess so. That's right. Some of us feel your pain, Richie. Some of us feel your pain.
All right.
Anyhow, guys, that does it for us here on the show. Appreciate y'all checking in with us. Have a good one. Again, like Pop said, there's no Pop Steaks next week. Also, no Rockabilly Radio this week or BB Nation Radio because we're all going to be gone. We're all going to be up in the woods enjoying the holiday. So we're taking the weekend off. So in the meantime, guys, have a good one. I will talk to you guys Wednesday over there on the Spreaker side of the house for another episode of the Hump Day Hangover with EO Complaint. So in the meantime, guys, take her easy. Love y'all. We gone. Bye-bye.